All right, great. Well, welcome everybody. You are officially in part two of MuleSoft for Agentforce, Topic Center and API Catalog. And we did end up splitting it into two segments. So part one is labeled, obviously, part one, and that was the integration part. So let me share with you what we did in part one. Or actually, let me go one step back a minute and tell you what we're going to do. So our goal is to have a Anypoint platform and a Salesforce org that are integrated. And we already did that part. We integrated the two platforms already. It is using the Coral Cloud Resorts use case that you have probably seen in some of the other workshops that have been done. But we're creating a Mule API. And this Mule API is going to be serving up a GET request for based on a reservation ID. And it also has a post reservation feature that we will not use in this workshop. But regardless, it's going to be in our specification. And what we want to do is we want to have this API. We're going to create it today. That's the mission for today, is to create this API, but not just the standard way that we've created APIs in the past. We want to create this API with built-in details that will allow, in the process of the integrations, allow the functionality to not only be used with Flow in Salesforce, but also be able to be used by our agent, a service agent. We have an agent in our Salesforce org that will be able to use the features of this API by way of API catalog, because it will automatically create a topic for our API. In the past, what we've done is we have been able to create our own topic. Okay, so manually we've come in here and we are able to create topics and actions and define in detail what the agent can or can't do based on the guardrails we set. Well, in a few minutes here, you're going to see the API specification has that information built into it. The topics and the actions and the scope and all of that is going to be built into our API specification. Now, that's what's new in this whole workshop, is that portion. And also, too, when we have an API that we want to also have available in the API catalog, we've had to tag that API so that when we use the API catalog in Salesforce, it'll populate as one of the assets in the API catalog for us to use as well. So those are the other things that are going to be happening as a result, as you know, in this. So what we did in part one is we created a new Salesforce org that does not expire. You do need to log into it. I'm getting notifications on some of mine that there's been no activity for 30 days. So be sure to, keep this alive, because it does have the Agentforce components to it and the AI features. It's fully loaded. So just be sure you keep, it active if you're going to continue using it going forward. So in that whole process, then once you've entered that in, you'll get an email. You've got to reset your password. Then we also enable the Einstein features in the setup of that Salesforce org, and also the Agentforce agents, as well as enable Agentforce default agent. So this is the agent that we're going to use in this workshop down here. Okay, so all of this is what we did in part one. Then we also created a trial account. And then in this trial account, Anypoint platform, it's a 30-day trial. So you'll have that period of time to use it. Then we did integrations, and I'm going to show you the screenshots on this. It's fully documented in part one, where we started on the Salesforce org. We went to Anypoint Platform to within the Salesforce setup to get the Salesforce org tenant key. And then we went to Anypoint Platform and added the Salesforce tenant key. So there was some integration happening here between these two. Much, much easier than it was originally when this first came out as far as integrating the platform. So this was very streamlined. And then the next step is to go ahead and finalize that handshake between Anypoint Platform and Salesforce by adding the Salesforce org key. Okay, so we did the Anypoint Platform key. We added all of that. Then again, there were some enablements on the Salesforce side. Once we did that, we enabled invocable actions. We enabled Einstein. Once that was done, we're enabled. Then again, we went back into Anypoint Platform, and you'll notice that 2 of the 3 options here are greened up, and we want to enable to allow the importing of the APIs into Salesforce. So we wanted to click on the settings here, accept that settings, and then choose your business group, and then all 3 of your options for enablement should be greened up. Okay, so that was the integration part, fully documented in part 1. And Mark, if you had not done that part, I'll be glad to get with you and run through that. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think I was in one of the sessions where you were trying to do it and I ran into issues and I had to just kind of stop.
Okay. Okay. Sounds
So
good.
yeah, if we could get together and do that. And by the way, I did try to launch Anypoint Code Builder, and it says something went wrong while preparing your cloud IDE. So
All right.
looks like there's issues with it.
Yeah, it's that's what we dealt with last week. And I have 3 trial orgs or 3 Anypoint Platform trial accounts. One of the 3 finally worked. Go figure.
Now,
So
is this different? Is this, I know this is the IDE version of it. Does it have the same features, or is it different, quite a bit different from the code builder in the Microsoft
in the,
Visual Code Builder or code?
yeah, it is similar. That is the desktop version that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's very similar. So you could use the desktop version if you had it installed.
Okay. I do have it installed, but I need to refresh it. It's old. So.
Okay. Yeah. And that's where, so our purpose behind these 2 sessions that we're doing, is because it's great study material. It's the latest, but
Okay.
B is to record these sessions for meetup leaders and anyone who is wanting to also do these presentations. So for those workshops, we're really trying to use the trial account web version so that you don't have a lot of troubleshooting, having it locally installed and going that route. So
Makes sense.
yeah, I've got a developer advocate looking into what's wrong, why it's not working 100%. Mine did finally work, so I want to capture the recording of that process. So you might want to kick back and just watch for this segment, and then I'll bring you up to speed on the other. Or if you want to use your desktop and you want to refresh it in the meantime, that's fine too, however you want to approach it. And that's for any of you. I think Anusha is also running hers on her desktop.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Yeah, so we can get together. I'll DM you about getting together on the first part of it.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great. So for everybody concerned, I will be cutting a video on how to do the desktop version currently where it sits. Because like I shared with you earlier, I have it on my desktop, but it was when it first came out. And just like what Mark's saying, it probably needs to be refreshed. And I would rather go ahead and start new and build it out based on the downloads now. So anyway, that'll come in due time. That'll come. All right. So I'm going to walk you through. If you can, go hands on keyboard. If you can't, I totally understand. And those of you that are watching this later, please let me know your results. We are getting part 1 and part 2 onto YouTube for easier access for you all. because I know the recordings are in our platform that we utilize. And so if it's kind of hard to locate those videos, they're going to YouTube. So you'll have them there. And then post your comments in YouTube if yours worked or not, or, you know, whatever your challenges might be or successes. We want to know when it works because that's the best fun. All right, so I'm going to go off camera. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. All right, so here we go. If you need me to stop or pause, for those of you that are doing hands-on keyboard, just let me know, okay? Just let me know. All right, so a few other things that we did in part one was we went to 2 code shares, okay? So the first code share is this one here. And Mark, I'll go ahead and put this in the chat for you also. So these code shares have the detailed information that we need. Okay, it's kind of like a snippet file. If you've ever been in any of the MuleSoft classes, we do a snippet file, and that snippet file has everything that you need. Okay.
Right. Got it.
All right, good.
Thanks.
Yep. So copy this and paste it over into another notepad, whatever you like to use. I use Notepad++. So copy it over into another notepad of sorts. And then you can put your username and password for your different orgs here. And then as we go down this list, I'm going to be using code snips from here. Okay. Now there's a URL at the top. Good. There's a URL at the top, this tinyurl.com. And if you go ahead and copy that, let me move this guy over. This is also going to be the workshop instructions. Okay, the workshop instructions. And in here, let me get the comments out of 1 second. Here we go. And here is going to be step-by-step what we have already done. So when you're not with me, you have the video and these instructions. Now I modified, there is another set of instructions as well that you might see others use. I have modified these because some things needed to be fixed a little bit. Okay, so anyway, we'll scroll down and we already did all of this. This tells you everything that you saw that we did on the slides, linking the orgs, doing those integration pieces. And then we're going to come down to part 2. Now, this is where we got stuck because Anypoint Code Builder would not load for us. Okay, so this is where we left off on part 2. So that's why this is part 2. Okay, so we want to, let me pull this over to the side. And we want to go ahead and use Anypoint Code Builder, the desktop version. And so in here, we're going to select to create a new. Okay, first off, when you come into Anypoint Code Builder, you're going to see the mule icon on the far left here. Okay, we've got the mule icon on the far left. So go ahead and click on that. And it'll bring you to where you see Anypoint Code Builder with Max pictured here. Okay. And we're going to design an API. We're going to design an API. So click that shortcut or that link. Design.
Hey, Diane.
Yes.
Quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
The Word document that you were on, where is that located at?
There's a link in the snip file.
The snippet file?
It's at the very top. Yeah. See where it says workshop for topics and article here. Let me.
Yeah. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Right there.
All right. Thanks.
Now, you might see another instruction document at another workshop, but I did make some corrections and I don't know who's using what going forward. I'm trying to share with them, you know, that I fixed this one, but we'll see.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so we clicked on Design an API, and there's such an important part of clicking Enable this API for agent topic and actions, because that's what does that mystery behind the scenes integration in using this specification as an agent topic with its actions. And if you, so we want to be sure that we click on this and use this for that purpose. So let me bring my actual screen up. And I'm going to click on enable this API for agent topics and actions. Again, if you do not do that here, it will not work, nor can you come back and get this to work. Okay, so be sure that you select that. And then we're going to come down for the name of our project. And that's going to be in your snippet file. Okay, it's going to be in your snippet file, Coral Cloud Reservation. Coral Cloud Reservation. So that comes here. And right now, the way some of the snippet files are coded, you will have errors if you don't use it exactly as it is right now. We're working on making it more parameterized, but for right now, go with the actual names that you see in our code snippet, okay? The Coral-Cloud-Reservation. And then some of these here are going to be the project location, the API type, and we are using OAS, by the way. We are using Open API Spec for it to populate to use this as a topic. You must use OAS, or formerly known as Swagger. Okay. So as we go ahead and come down, we're not changing anything here, nor are we choosing the business group for right now. We're going to go ahead and click on Create Project. So you'll see it creating the API specification. Okay, and you might get a pop-up here that says, do you trust them? Go ahead and click on Trust the Authors. Yes, I trust. Okay, and it's going to continue to build out our specification view here. So notice that we have automatically populated here a tag here, a top element here of an X-F SFDC. Okay, so that's salesforce.com. And we also can see that we have an agent listed there and the topic details here as well. And this is where it's just automatically scaffolding it like it is a template for us to use. But in our snippet file, you're going to find that there is another code share right below this. The next code share is going to have our OAS specification for us. Okay, so it's going to automatically have our OAS specification. So if you go ahead and either click on the OAS specification code block URL, go ahead and it's going to look like this. Okay, so we have our Open API version. We can see the title of this is Hotel Reservations API. Again, there's the XSFDC agent topic name and all the details here. And then it drops down into our paths or our endpoints. Okay, the reservation post and all of the details associated with it. And as we come down, we also have our reservations by reservation ID get request. All right, so go ahead and just select all here and copy it. And then we'll go back to Anypoint Code Builder. And we're just going to paste that block of code, remove everything that's there. So remove everything here and paste in that block of code. Okay. And it should take it just a little time to locate the information and get everything structured in. You should not have any errors here. And then when we come over here to the right-hand side on the agent topics, I want you to come down to where it shows apply. Okay, apply. And what this did is it took our documentation in our specification that we have here, the topic name, the title of this API, some detailed information here, and it populated it over here into our agent topic into our agent topic. And remember, we saw this in our design here of these agent topics, and it requires some detailed information. So we just put that information in by way of our specification, our OAS specification, and it's populated all of that into our agent topics. So notice we have a description. This API allows agents to book, modify, and cancel hotel reservations, as well as apply loyalty upgrades. The scope of this one, and if you mouse over, you can see what the scope actually means. The scope tells an agent what it's able to do within our topic. Okay, so these elements here are so important for the AI components to work and work securely. They're going to be working based on the information given here. Okay. And then there are instructions. Now, the instructions are also the guardrails that tell the agent what it can or can't do, how it should do things, and what it shouldn't do. Like one of the instructions, always check the customer loyalty status before finalizing the booking. If the customer asks to create a reservation, check for check-in date. All these details here. So there are never confirm a reservation without validating payment information. Okay, so there is a never. Okay, and so you want to make sure that these instructions that are listed here are a lot of thought needs to be put into these so that when the agent is actually interacting with this topic or using this topic, it's going to be following your best practices of the guardrails that you are setting for this. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. Let's see. We're going to hit apply bottom right. Again, we already have it added. So I think we are good with that. We've got it populated. So that is good. And then let me grab my trusty little notes here and see where we're headed next. Oh, here we go. All right. We did all of that. We did all of that. We did that. And we did that. Okay. So now we should also see if we hit apply again. Come on, it should be behaving. We should see it popping up a question for the business group here, but that doesn't seem to be giving it to us yet. So let's see what's going on in our topics here. One thing we can do, and this is something you can do really this at any time, but it's in our instructions to happen a little bit later. But on the bottom left, you're going to see, a user icon, and there is a notification here on it. So we want to click on that user icon, and we want to sign in with Anypoint platform. Okay. And this is kind of interesting. Now, we're already on the platform. We're already interacting with Anypoint Code Builder. But go ahead and click on this sign in with Anypoint, and we'll say open. And it's redirecting to Anypoint once again. And then it's going to confirm the login, and then you can close the page. So that part is done. Then we come back here and we see that icon is now, that notification is missing. And in the bottom right, you can see what Anypoint platform that you're on. It has your username there. Okay. Now it's asking for the select the business group up here at the top. So whatever you named your root account is what we're going to select. Okay. And this is where you would in turn choose different business groups you want the agent to be functioning in. If you had multiple business groups out there, you would be choosing what business groups that you want it to operate in. Okay. So we'll click on your business group that's there. All right. So I think we're moving ahead pretty good. Let me see. One second here, bring this over. Anusha, how are you doing on yours? You doing pretty well?
Yeah, Dan, actually, I have logged into the Anypoint platform already. and still facing the same issue. Like I'm not able to get the pop-up.
Ah, okay. Okay. So, yeah, there might be that, and you're on the desktop, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why it's misbehaving in that way, but I'll try to get with you a little bit later and see if I can help you move forward on that. I want to try to capture the recording on this for us.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I see your note there too. Okay. So, so in this regards, one thing you might try is clicking that apply again, and you're already logged in, but there might be a breakdown between the desktop version and what we're trying to do here too.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'll try that. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. And Mark, I'm going to mute you for just a minute. Unmute anytime. I'm just going to mute you're out there. All
Okay,
right.
thanks. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, let me bring us back to where we were here. So we have set up our code. We got all that done. Then we signed into Anypoint. We selected the business group. And now we're ready to run a governance rule set that's automatically being populated for this agent to have, to make sure that we are conformant. Now, if you're not familiar with governance, I'll be glad to give you a lowdown on that, but I'm going to not go too deep into it in this recording. Actually, in part, I do have a recording on governance rule sets, but notice that the centralized rule sets for API topics and action enablement is a centralized defaulted type of rule set that's being automatically applied. So I will, if you come to the left-hand side, you'll see governance rule sets. There's also a pop-up over here on the right that says view the rule sets. And, you could check that out if you wanted to, but really where to run it is on the left over here, bottom left, to click on the governance rule sets. And then you will see the SF API topic and action enablement. And so you can see various rules that are listed below it. So we're going to come up here to the run arrow just to the right of the name of this rule set, and we're going to run this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and run that, click and run. So you should see the pop-up that it's running the validations. No conformance issues have been found, and so it's happy. And we want to also acknowledge that we are now going to be compliant in regards to that. So we completed this part, and now we're ready to publish it. Well, we completed the governance rule set here, and now we're ready to publish this API to Exchange. Okay, so in publishing this to Exchange, we're going to use the commands here to show the different commands available to actually publish this to Exchange. So follow along with me. And in here, let's see, make sure all of that is there. I just like hitting apply. Okay, so now we're ready to position your cursor in the top bar. Okay, position your cursor in the top bar and click in it. And you'll notice show and run commands. Now you can use your hotkeys to do this. That's fine. Control-Shift-P, or you can just show that and click on it. And now it's going to offer me all of the commands. So if I start typing MuleSoft, publish. Okay, so I didn't even have to complete it, but there is publish API project to Exchange. Okay, publish API project to Exchange. And we want to click on that. Okay, and once we do, now we're seeing on the right-hand side is preparing to publish it to Exchange. It is sync centralized governance rule set and run validation. We did that. I'm going to click it one more time so that it synchronizes this. Okay, so click on the sync centralized governance rule sets just to be sure. It's rerunning them again. All right, so we got a green check over here again, and nothing was found. I just want to make sure we covered that base there. All right, and we can close that one. All right, so on the right-hand side, if for any reason you see that, mine's staying. I just want to make sure I've got a green plus over here, or green check over on the left for the rule set. And the asset version is coming up automatically at 1.0.0. The API version, I want you to do a lowercase v1 for version 1. And if we click on the project metadata, we can see that it's going to be using the in the business group, our root business group. We can see the asset ID. We can see the asset name. And notice these two tags. Now, that's important because these are the two tags that you must use so that these assets show up in the API catalog on Salesforce and as an API topic. So these two are very important on these tags. We have in the past, and you still can, add a tag manually so that they populate. But in this case, we are using the OAS specification to generate the topic, and it's also generating our tags automatically. So very cool, very cool. So what you could do going forward is have a template of some of the details that you want for your agents and topics and instructions, and then just reuse that and modify it based on your needs for each of the different topics that you're creating and the APIs that you have out there. So automation, folks, automation in action here. So we'll click on publish. Click on publish. And now it's going to ask us, do we want to go ahead and create an implementation? And what that means is it's going to automatically create it's going to create our interface using the API Kit router. It's going to create a Mule application for us in Anypoint Code Builder. So it's going to do all of that. So notice it says, okay, it has published to Exchange in the bottom right. So yay, that's good. Up here in the center of the screen, the top center, would you like to implement this as well? This is where we're going to say yes. We're going to say yes. Okay, now it's wanting to know what is the project name. All right, go to your snippet file. Oh, I don't have the project name in your snippet file. Shame on me. Hang on, I'll get the project name. That should be in our snippet file, but I didn't put it there. Shame on me. Okay, so it's right here, Coral Cloud Hotel Reservation IMPL. Okay, I'll put it in the chat. So it'll be Coral Cloud Hotel Reservation IMP. Implementation. The IMPL is for implementation. Okay. So coming to you in the chat, let me copy it before I send it. There you go. Grab that. That's the name of our project. And then the other things that pop up are going to be the target folder. We'll use the default and the Java versions. And if any of these prompts change because they change the URI, the user interface pretty often. Okay. So that can happen. So go ahead and get your implementation in here, the name of it, and hit enter. And then also we're going to allow it to use the target folder, the default target folder, click OK, and the latest Java version. Okay, and then you'll have to select Java 17. All right, so now it is, notice the bottom right, that it is downloading the Mule runtime, it's getting our Java version, and it's scaffolding our specification for our implementation. And while I know, right? Cheer it on.
Yeah.
While it's doing that, I need to step away for just a minute and I will be right back. So just watch that. I'll be right with you. Okay, I am back. All right, so it finished. And look here what we have. We have on the left-hand side our implementation. Now, remember, this is going to look different because it's on Anypoint Code Builder using Visual Studio. But on the left-hand side here, we can see a folder that is source. Okay, so let's click open the source. There is the main, and there is the Mule. When you open that up, there is your XML of your implementation. Okay. All right. And so now it's populating in our flows. This is our HTTP listener with our router. Here are the two endpoints that we have. We have the two endpoints. Oh, these are some of our error handling and such. And then if we come over here to the flow list, which is what we want to do. So this is our interface here. Okay. And then we're going to go to our flow list, click on the flow list, and you're going to see the get reservations by ID flow. Okay. So again, here's the 4 flows that were created based on our specification. We've got our main flow that we're looking at right now. We've got our console flow. Okay, familiar with that, right? In Mule, we can click on that and we can bring up a, kind of like our, an API console version of our API. And then we also have the get reservations by ID and then the post reservations. So we're going to click on the get flow. Go ahead and click on the get flow. And here's our get flow here. So we're going to use this flow in our implementation. So we want to add into this. We're going to add, if you click on the plus sign here for add a component, go ahead and click on the plus. And we can add in, this is kind of like our palette up here. And it's loading. So I'm going to type in transform or start typing transform, and it should bring it into view here. Sometimes it's a little slow, but I'm going to let that work on that while I'm sharing the slides to take us forward. Okay, so we have done this, and then this is our view that we just saw. Okay, so these slides are really intended kind of as a place marker of where you're at on the journey. And we looked at this flow with our interface, and then we came to the get reservation by ID, and we're adding a transform message. So it's transform with output JSON. And so we have a snippet of code that we're going to add to this transform message. This is going to be providing some data back when we send in this request. So we're kind of hard coding it right now just to give you an idea of, how this ultimately would work. Okay, so we're going to see this data populate when the agent goes and gets data from our API. This is the information that you're going to see. Now, ultimately, it'd be wired to a real database and all of that good stuff. But, for the sake of this workshop, we're hard coding that in. So let me see. Okay, good. So once it loads, again, this is going to be very much like your palette. Essentially, it is. And we're going to click on transform with output and bring it. Oh, come on. There you go. Click on transform output with JSON, and it'll drop it down into the flow here. Okay. Anusha, did you get yours to work at all?
No, Ryan, I have tried multiple times and
Okay. Sit back and watch. We'll make sure that you all get this working at some point. And I think, I will get my desktop version running, and I bet it would probably need to be the latest. So we'll definitely work on that.
sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's click on the transform message. Okay, and you'll notice now that here is how it looks when we use it. And this is going to be where we can configure our code block, our data weave code block here. Now we're going to grab what we have in our snippet file. So you can see copy below, stop there. So grab the code block that's here, copy that. And again, we're just hard coding this in. Remove everything that's there, paste in what's in your clipboard. And now this is going to be added to our, kind of hard coding the results of what we normally get from the database. Okay. All right. So it's good. Now, one thing about Anypoint Code Builder is that it is automatically saving for you. So if we close that, we open it back up and it's there. So you don't have to do any saves along the way or anything like that. And so at this point, we're going to pause with building out our code. But you can see where it added that our code block for our data weave here on the right in the XML code. And what we want to do next is ultimately we want this API to be a managed API. All right. So to do that, we want to, first of all, let's go to open up leave that window open. Don't shut that down. Leave that window open. And I'm going to come in here to my previous tab and I want to go, first of all, I'm going to go to Exchange. Okay. Because we did publish this API to Exchange. So here it is. There's your API that you published to Exchange. If we go into this, we can also see those tags that were automatically added here. And here's our two endpoints, the reservation post and the reservation by get by ID. Okay, so it is an exchange. It is conformant also. Notice it is conformant in the upper right because we ran a rule set against it. We're following best practices. All right, so it is here. It is an API that's in Exchange. Now what we want to do, we're going to use the basic endpoint or embedded, as it may be called too, and connect using auto discovery to manage this API. So we want to have a managed API by way of API manager. So to do the basic endpoint, we're going to come out here and we're going to go through the process that we're going to have a managed API, and we're going to get this API instance ID. Once we have that API instance ID, we're going to go back and add a block of code that is actually the global element in our specification that, or in our application that is going to acknowledge this API ID. And then when we deploy this application to Cloud Hub, these values, or I should say the API ID is going to populate, and then we will add the client ID and client secret of our business group, and this will deploy to Cloud Hub. And then auto discovery will locate the application or the implementation. So it's going to be that auto discovery handshake for our managed API. This does need to be a managed API. All right. So that's where we're headed next. So to do all of that, you're going to be in Anypoint platform, and you're going to go to API Manager. Okay, go to API Manager. And on API Manager, we're going to add an API. Add an API. A new API. Okay. And it's going to be the Mule Gateway. The Mule Gateway. And we're going to connect to an existing application using the basic endpoint. Okay, so by default, that is selected. And Mule 4, of course. Okay, so on this page, we clicked on Mule Gateway. It's a basic endpoint, Mule 4, and we're ready to go to the next tab or next page. Okay, and now we're choosing our Coral Cloud Reservation API. Okay. And it's populating all of this. It's also found that it's conformant. That's good. Okay. And we'll go to next. Now, this next one is where we can optionally put the instance ID or any of the details here. We're not going to put anything there at this time. Let's click on next. So we're doing nothing on the downstream tab. And now for the upstream, we're not going to add that either at this point. And we're going to go ahead and click on next. Okay, so this is a process for the basic endpoint. You might be more familiar with the proxy style. It's a little different, but this is the basic endpoint. So this is kind of a review here. The runtime is a Mule gateway. It's a basic endpoint. We chose our API that we published to Exchange. And now we're also just going to go ahead and click on save. And this is going to give you an API instance ID. And that's what we want to copy, is you want that API instance ID. And take that and add it to your snippet file. Okay, there's a segment here called create a global API ID config, and that's where you want to put your API ID. Now you also want to add it in your code block below where it says your API ID here. Remove the two brackets and paste that value in the quotation marks inside of the, like I said, inside of the two quotation marks. So this should read API gateway : auto discovery, API ID, and the details there, doc name. So nothing else gets changed here. Okay, but you do add the API ID that you just got. So now we're going to copy that code block in your snippet file. And we're going to go back to our Anypoint Code Builder code here. So we see our XML code on the right. All right, we want to scroll all the way up to the top up here. All the way to the top up here. Let me slide this over. And then if you'll notice, we're going to place this, let me backspace a little bit here. Yeah. We're going to place this after the HTTP listener close tag. So right under the Mule, we've got the HTTP listener, and we're going to add this right after the closing tag of the HTTP listener config. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so locate at the top. Mine is on line 5. So this is after the HTTP listener and before the API kit config. And hit enter. And then it should still be in your clipboard. Go ahead and paste in the API gateway auto discovery code block. Okay, and then you can tab out those two lines that may not have gone in the right location. XML is forgiving, it won't matter, but just to make it look better, you can go ahead and add in your code block there. Now, there are different ways you ultimately could do this also, but for this workshop, that's how they're having us do this. Okay. So we added the code block there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to find this icon that looks like a little spaceship taken off. And that is our deploy. Okay, that is our deploy. So we'll click on that icon. We're going to deploy. And then we're going to choose the environment. We may have these options. It's a little different each time. But one thing that we have not, what we will see, let me back up. What we will see is we're going to see the build here. And we should see the build success. Then we're going to go to Runtime Manager. And we're going to add under the properties your Anypoint Platform Client ID and secret for your business group. We'll go ahead and get it deployed first, and then we'll come on the platform and we'll gather this information. So let's go back to Anypoint Code Builder. Okay, Anypoint Code Builder. And if you click on if for some reason you do not see the tabs here on the right, because we were just working in the XML code, but we're going to go ahead and click on the deploy to Cloud Hub, that little rocket looking thing on the right. Cloud Hub 2, choose Cloud Hub 2. So it's loading. Now it wants to know where we're going to deploy to. US East 2, shared space, sandbox environment, unless you change the names of your environments. And now you should, it's giving a pop-up in the bottom right that says, a deployment config file is created. Do you want to deploy? Click on deploy in the bottom right. Okay. Now it's asking for our Java version. Go ahead and select, I'm doing the Edge version on that. Your asset version, that's fine with what it is. Hit enter. Okay, so now we're watching the build. Okay, watching the build here. And once the build is successful, then we should be able to go to Runtime Manager, build success. Okay, so once you see build success, you're safely able to go, you know that it lifted it from here, publishing to Exchange. Okay, now that publishing to Exchange is actually an application type asset. Now it's deploying to Cloud Hub. Now it's saying open in Runtime Manager. So you can, and I'm going to come up here and go to Runtime Manager. Okay, so you can go to Runtime Manager. We should be seeing it deploy, but it's going to fail. It's going to fail because it does not have the client ID and client secret associated with it. Okay, and that is the business group client ID and client secret. So let's go ahead and click on this application and open it up to where we can see the properties tab. And we need to go get the business group client ID and client secret. So to do that, we'll leave this open. Just do the slide out menu over here on the upper left and right click on Access Management and open that in a new tab. Okay, that way it leaves where you're working open and it just opened a new tab for us. Okay. And we'll go over to Access Management and we'll click on Business Groups. And within the business groups here is where you're going to see your business group that we're using. And we want to go into the, well, there it is right there. Once we're under the settings, you can see the client ID and the client secret for your business group. Now get your snippet file because you're going to add the client ID and client secret to the business group or to your snippet file, but then you're also going to put them here, removing the greater than less than icons and only have your client ID and your client secret. So build out your code that we're going to add as the property placeholders. So copy your client ID. Okay, paste that in your snippet file, but also remove those icons there. Okay, so that's how it should look. See, I have no space. I have no quotes. All right, now get the secret. Copy that. Put it in your snippet file. And again, put it in your code block. I just messed that up. Let's try that again. All right, and once you have this, then copy those two lines only, right? That says anypoint.platform.client_ID. That has to be the key name. And the other one is the client_secret. So copy those.
You aren't teaching today, are you?
Copy those. And we're going to paste this over in the Runtime Manager. in the Runtime Manager under the Properties tab.
Well, I need to
So
know.
go into the Properties tab here. And in the Properties tab, you can go over to Text View instead of Table View and paste in what's in your clipboard. Okay, paste it in. And notice this is still trying to deploy. It didn't have the client ID and client secret. So it will fail. So we're going to apply these changes. Okay, apply these changes to, well, you can even click on Table View and see that you have added your client ID and your client secret. Another little thing while we're here, just for fun, is you can protect your secret. Protect the value, it obscures it. You can protect your ID and it obscures it as well so that it's not visible, and we can apply those changes. And now it should deploy. We can check out our logs. Before you go to the logs, you can see that this one was attempting to deploy. This is the desired one. And we can check out our logs and make sure that this does in fact deploy. All right, so we'll give it, this is the new one. We should see these logs populate. So we've been going for about an hour. If you want to take a quick break while this is deploying, go right ahead. I'm going to go on mute for a minute, and I will be watching this. So let's take like a 2-3 minute break, okay?
Sounds good.
Good, awesome. All right, see you in just a few. All right, look at that. We have a deployment. We're green. Life is good. It's always good when it's green, right? Woohoo! Okay, so now what we are seeing here is our application has deployed. Everything is good there. And we could go back to our settings and see that it is running. Ta-da! And we've got a public endpoint here. So we can copy this public endpoint. Okay, go ahead and copy that public endpoint. And now we want to go ahead and update API Manager with the details of our public endpoint. Okay, so we want to come in here. We'll go to, I should have Runtime Manager open at some point, but we'll go to API Manager. And API Manager, we're just going to update this. Oh, check that out. We'll update this here. Notice this is active now, whereas before it was not. That is the auto discovery feature that found our API. It's activated now. And we want to go ahead and add our consumer endpoint here. So let's go ahead and click in our edit on the right-hand side of the API summary. And on the consumer endpoint, let's paste in here our endpoint that we have and our upstream URL. Both of these can have this here. And being that we're using the API Kit router, we're going to go ahead and do /API at the end of these so that we don't have to type API each time in our URL. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the API at the end of each of these, and we'll click on Save. We'll click on Save. All right, so now we have a managed API that is in the runtime manager, or I should say the implementation is deployed in runtime manager. That is completed. So we essentially have completed all of this that you see, and we just updated those two as well. And now we're ready to see if our integrations are working between Anypoint Platform and our Salesforce org. So now we're ready to hop over into Salesforce. All right, so if yours is working, then we want to go ahead and launch into Salesforce. And let me grab my credentials for this. 1 second. There we go. Getting logged in on my other screen here. Okay, it's asking me to validate, so give me a second here on this. I do appreciate all of these multi-factor authentication things, but they take a little time sometimes, don't they? Okay, almost there. All right, I am in. Okay. So now that I'm in on Salesforce, so we're going to shift focus now. And so the complete life cycle of our API has been completed by the managed API. We could add policies, we could do other things, but that's out of scope for this workshop. So now we're ready to come in to Salesforce. And we previously did these integrations. You know, we'll go to setup here, go to setup in Salesforce. And we are going to, one thing we can stop and do real quick. Let's go to Anypoint here. And there is the Anypoint platform setup. And we have already done this. This is what we did in part 1. We did this handshake between our two orgs. Okay. I'm just wondering if it's the same org that I have, that I've been using. I've got multiple orgs here. So let me make sure. IQ workshop. I might be in a different org here. 1 second. Let me check. That might be one of the ones that actually had failed. And give me just a second here. This is what happens when you have a lot of accounts on Salesforce. Yeah, I'll try it. Let's see. Okay. See what's not matching here? Although the org ID should be what I'm looking for. Let me look at the. So if you don't know which one you're associated with, you can go to the org ID. And I actually think that this is a different one. And if we do the sync, and I go to the settings on this, I think it might be a different one. Let me try this other one real quick. Like I said, the joy of having multiple accounts here. So this one should be, let's see the settings on this. Yeah, IQ Workshop. That's why I think it's not that same one, because I need the IQ Workshop. And here's my org ID. So I'm going to hunt this org ID down. That's the Salesforce org ID. So let me locate this. So bear with me. I got to find out where this is. All right, not there. Oh, it's fun hunting down your stuff. Come on. I think I know where it's at. I was so happy that one of my accounts worked that I don't know which one it is.
I've had that happen before too, Diane.
I feel good. That melts me.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now I got to find my username.
Right.
Oh, fun. Let's see. Yeah, because that's the org ID. That's what I'm after it. And that should be inside of, that's how you can tell. That's how you can validate it again, one against the other. Okay. And let's see. Oh, I guess I'll have to try this one and see. I don't know if it's going to behave or not. I can always link it to this one. You might see me relink them. I don't know. We shall see. That would be good. All right. I'm feverishly working on it over here, folks. Just so you know. All right. That's a good sign. Making progress. Alrighty. I thought I had everything mapped out, but you know, you're never really quite ready. That just shows you.
It happens.
Yeah.
Even to the best of us, right? No worries.
Fun stuff. Any point
Mm-hmm.
setup. All right. I think I'm cooking. I think I'm cooking over here now. All right. So
Good deal.
new connection. New York World Tour 2025. I still don't know if that's the. Yeah, we're going to find out here in a minute. Okay. Well, if anything, I can reconnect. All right. So what we want to do here is we want to go to API catalog. API catalog. And this is where we're going to start the sync. Now, if I've done this right, we will see that it will synchronize into or pull the assets from Anypoint platform over here into the API catalog. So that's what we hope for. I'm going to bring the other one up too while I'm trying all this fun stuff out and see if I can get the other one too. So I'll run both of them. Make sure I'm on different browser tabs because it does not like when you're on the same browser tabs. All right, so as this is going, you want to refresh periodically. And it should bring in, and it does take a few minutes. There's no question about that. That does happen. So we'll give it time to do all of that good stuff. And again, we'll give it a refresh. Well, that might be an indication here. And like I said, sometimes it takes it a little time to populate it in. We shall see. Ah, okay. Okay, I think I found the account I should be on. All right, it should be sending me the request in there. Let's see what it does. And if this doesn't behave, we might have to square one. So you never know.
Fingers crossed.
I know. This is true. Okay. I could start singing and have live entertainment if you'd like.
Awesome.
I know.
I'll go get my guitar and accompany you.
Oh, please do. Yeah, that would be great. All right, I think I am making progress over here. All right, so here's the other Salesforce account I had. And I think it's this one. So I think it's just like me to be hacking away at something to try to get one of them to work. And I've got like 5 of them. Seriously, I do have 5 of these accounts of the new Salesforce orgs. So if you need one, I'll be glad to share.
I probably will need one.
Yeah, I'll be glad to give you one of them. If I can figure out the login details, we're good. I found it. Okay, so here's what I kept looking for. Anypoint org IQ workshop. That's going to marry my Anypoint platform IQ workshop. So that's what I was after, guys. That's what I was trying to, this IQ workshop, Okay, so I found the one that's been integrated with this. So I'm in business now. See, IQ Workshop, that's what I was trying to find. All right, so now we're going to be okay. That other one did not have an asset. Okay, so this one, now when I go here and I go to API Catalog, the one that we deployed and managed is already here. Check that out. Okay, so API Catalog, and here is that API. Okay, so this is that API right there. Or I should say the one that's in Exchange. This one. If we go to Exchange, it's going to be this one. Okay, so here it is. These are now, it's populating into API Catalog now, but it's not activated. Now, what will happen is when you have a bunch of APIs tagged with the API Catalog, you're going to see all of them listed here. Okay, they're all going to be listed. So what we want to do is we want to choose the one we want and the endpoints that we want so that we can go through the list and get the different endpoints that we want to use. All right, so to do that, we're going to go, first of all, we're going to come over here to the right of our API and click on activate or create connection. First, we'll create a connection. Okay, so click on create connection. And this is where, as we can see from our slides also, is we started the sync. R is populated right away. We're going to create the connection. And on this side for creating the connection, we're going to choose the different version. Now, this will show different versions based on your API ID or your instance ID. Okay, so for our instance ID, we have the version here. So we're going to use that one. Okay, and we're going to create and continue. So we'll go to the next tab. And on this tab is going to be the tab for manage the user assignments. Okay, so we're going to actually click on this and open up into a new browser tab to manage the assignments for our API. We'll add an assignment. We're going to choose our name and then we'll assign it. Okay, so we're going to go through that process, manage the user assignments. This is the permission set for this API. Okay, and in the center of the screen, it says manage assignments. So center, top of the screen, manage assignments. And now we're going to create a new assignment. So add an assignment on the upper right. Add an assignment. And choose your name. Okay, so your name's going to be listed here somewhere. You'll choose you. Click on next. And we'll click on assign. Okay, so that would be completed. And you can go ahead and close that. So you now have granted your account, your sysadmin account on Salesforce to have access to this API. Okay, so click on done. And we can close that tab. We don't need that tab open. So this has been completed. And now we're ready to go to the next tab. When we go to done on the far bottom right, it says the connection was created. Okay, so that's good. Connection is created. And it's even active. Okay, so it's activated that. Assignment done. Sometimes it'll be slower and it'll be pending. Ours activated right away. Okay, so ours went really quickly there. So if we look at ours and we open up this API name, we should now see the different, it's not activated yet. Okay, so it is active here, but it has not activated the endpoints yet. So let's go ahead and activate the actions up here in the upper right. Update. and now everything is activated. Okay. So now that means that both of these endpoints here are available for our agents to use. So now we're ready to go into our agents. So now we'll go into our agents, and we're going to go to our default agent that's called Agentforce. And we're going to look at the topics, and we're going to bring our topic in, hotel room reservation. Okay, we created that topic, and we're going to add it to our Agentforce agent. Okay, we're going to add it to our Agentforce agent, and then we're going to test it. We're going to ask the question, for retrieving our reservation for a particular reservation. And the agent is going to use our topic to go get the data from our API. Okay, so it's going to be using that whole process. All right, so let's go do that. Let's go do that. There we go. Okay, so in here, we're going to type in the quick find. We're under setup still. So we're going to do agents, and you'll see Agentforce agents, Agentforce agents. And when we turned on the agents and we use the default agent, now you can create your own agent, and I urge you to do that so you can see the whole process. But in our case, we're going to use the Agentforce default. This agent, we can click on this and it takes us to the agent page and some of the details about it. And we're going to open in Builder. We're going to open in Builder. Okay, so this agent is going to be set up. And whenever an agent is created, there are default topics assigned to it. Okay, there's default topics assigned. We don't want to use those. We're going to remove those. So remove each of these default topics here. Now you can have multiple topics. That's not a problem. But we want to use just our topic that we created. So come up here to the new and add from asset library. And as a result of our OAS specification that included the topic information, here is our topic that was created. And if you look through this, you're going to see within the description and the scope, the exact information from our specification. And we can click on finish. So this now is adding our topic. Okay, adds our topic to our agent. And now let's test it out. Let's say, let me see. Let me get the details on this real quick. We're going to ask it a question here. And I played around with this a little bit. You can do a couple of different ways that you ask this. But we'll stick with what is in the instructions here. So we're going to actually ask it to give us the, come on, there you go. Give me the reservation details. 1 second. There we go. So I'll put this in the chat. Let me put it here real quick. Give me the reservation details for customer with ID number, and we're giving it a random ID. So it's going out there and it's analyzing what our request is. So coming in the chat, grab this. And no reservation. Okay, yeah, this acts weird sometimes for me. And so I've come up with my own. Please give me the reservation details for Diane Kessler. There we go. So let's see what it does this time. It's figuring out next steps. And if you've not worked with Agentforce at all, the center part is going to be what it's actually doing. Okay. So it got me some information details, but what I want it to do, and it did find that, I want the reservations for ID and just come up with an ID number here. Oh, fun stuff. I just love when things don't work. Let me try this again. Because it should be, let me activate it. Let's activate it. It should work deactivated. That is not a problem. But let me activate it and see what it's going to come up with. I'm going to go back to the original question. Give me the reservation details for the customer with ID number such and such. Hey, okay, so activate it. It should have worked in the deactivated mode. I won't argue with that for right now. But here is this is from our code snippet in our transform message. Remember, we hard coded it. So if you look back,
What did you do to activate it?
There's an activate button in the upper right.
Gotcha. All right, thanks.
But it should work deactivated too. So I don't know why it's not doing that, but at any rate, it is, you can see in the center screen what it did. Okay, so we gave the user prompt of give me get me reservation details. And then it went and used here's the instructions, right? And here are the actions. And then you can actually see the selected action. It went and remember the reservation ID is our URI parameter because we have a get by ID. So we sent in our ID number, or it sent in our ID number. I just gave it a, natural language. And then it came back with our code here. And this code is based on what we hard coded our transfer message with. So if you look at the agent response, then we can come down here to the agent response also and see that it's providing this information back. Okay. So you could do it again and use a different number here. That's why I was trying a different number and just use a random number. But because we've hard coded it, it's always going to give back the same information. Okay. So there you have it, folks.
Cool.
That's it. That's the end of this.
Very cool.
Yeah. Now you can expand on this more, and the more that you have in the API catalog, the more assets will be available for you to use as a topic. But you concluded this workshop. And once this is in YouTube, and it will be shortly, and you are successfully able to go through the process, please give me a shout out. Let me know that you did get it and you achieved it. And that will, be how you confirm that you've completed this workshop. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, hi Dan, Anusha here. So it's not working with the desktop version, right? Can I try again with the web browser version by creating another platform account or something?
You can. I tried 3.
Okay.
Alicia, I have 3, and one of the 3 worked. This one is the one that did work. But yes, you can. You can create additional accounts. Yes.
Okay.
And see if it will work. So I don't know why it is not working, but I did ask to see if I could find out. I've put out requests through the MuleSoft community of a developer advocate. One of the developer advocates is trying to find out behind the scenes. And I also, when it fails, it says that you can submit a ticket, and I submitted a ticket as well. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure what's wrong with things, but I will update you as soon as I know. Okay.
So when
I've been trying several times during this whole session. I've tried over and over, and it won't load, Diane.
Yeah.
Okay. And the recordings, you'll be sending the mail of the recordings, or like it's in YouTube?
Yes, you should. You should get an email.
Okay.
That has the recordings inside of this platform.
Okay.
Let me show you. So you should get, let me bring it up really quick so you can see it. I don't know if it's that one. No. All right, let's see. It should be in this one. All right. That was the other day. So you should be getting some notifications about the events, right? And then you should also get a notification that the recording is ready. And I'm looking for that right now for you.
So it is usually in classes or in the dashboard, or where can I study group, right?
Right. It should show there also. I've actually come into it in a different way because I'm presenting. So mine's a little bit different. But you should have gotten an email notification that the recording was ready.
Yeah, last session I have received the email in the integration request.
Okay. Look, here's where it shows up. See? Integration quest, a new recording is done. And then, yeah, you go to lesson. That's where it takes you anyway, right? It takes you into the lesson. And I didn't sign in as a student. I signed in, and there it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should show up here in all of the study groups. All of the study group recordings are here.
Yep,
So that's
got
cool.
it. Yeah, I can see the mail. So yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I think it was posted in Slack too, the link to that YouTube video.
Oh, good. Did he? Okay, do you want to share
He
that?
finished it. Yeah, he finished it and put it in the workshop study
Oh,
groups.
excellent. Okay,
channel.
let me grab that.
Okay.
Very good. Yeah, here's the YouTube. Very good. All right. And when this one finishes, when this recording that we're doing finishes, then it's also going to show up in this same YouTube channel. So let me go to that channel. And this should be in the Integration Quest channel. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so if you subscribe to the Integration Quest channel, pretty much everything we do in the study group ends up over here. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. Sure. Yep.
Yeah, and this is easier. And then you can post questions right under here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. There we go. So here we want to say post your results. Here. There you go. There you go. That way you can kind of, let me know when you got it, or if you have any questions or you have anything going on. So this is part 1, and part 2 will be in the same channel.
Yep, sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, folks. So again, my apologies that it's not working. That's never fun when the tool is not working like it should.
Right.
But I've put in, so they'll fix it. It's new, they'll fix it. And there's a beta. If you look at it, there's a beta also that I bet the problem, let me share again. I bet the problem that they're having right now is that we're going from this one and they're doing the beta. And I've even tried that one and it doesn't work. And then I know, Anusha, you tried the desktop and it's not working. So at any rate, we'll see what they'll fix it. They'll fix it. But the main thing is that you're seeing how to speed up your topic creation of your APIs, or of the topics that the agents will use. For example, if I want to create a new topic and I come up here to the topics here, I got to deactivate it to look at the topics. But if I want to create a new topic, I have to fill all of this out. Like just that part. What do you want it to do? That's optional, but I have to fill this next screen out manually. Okay. And so it's going to give you some ideas and examples of what you might want to do. And so as it's coming through here, these are the important details that your topic has to have in order for it's called the brain of the AI that's determining what topic to use that you've assigned, or how to when it says it's working on it, and you'll get all of that information we saw in the center of the screen. That's being managed by the AI component called Atlas. And Atlas uses the information that's here to behave a certain way. So if you don't provide it with as much information as possible and really put up your rules and what it can do and what you don't want it to do here in your topic, then you are not going to be following best practices. You're not going to be providing it with the information that Atlas needs for it to behave the correct way. Okay, so otherwise we have to manually come in and type all of this. But in our case, we populated all of this in from our specification. Every bit of this came from our OAS specification, right? Remember? So this is all from the code block. And now you can take that code block and you can use it as a guideline for writing your specifications and everything that agent needed. So this all came in from here. All of this is a result of this. And that certainly makes development time a lot faster. Right? Alrighty, folks. Well, we're done a little bit early. I'm going to stop the recording. Well, first, are there any questions other than the tool needing to work? That's kind of important. All right. I'm going to stop.